beautiful people. Hello from Salamina. Gorgeous day today, so why don't we go talk outside, okay? Yeah. Sun is shining. It's the last of the warm weather. Well, tomorrow will be the last, and then we're going to get true Greek winter. I'm not freezing. So today I'm here to tell you it's story time. So I have so many funny stories about me and Vasili. So today I'm telling you one of those. And the story is called Patch's Little Eye. You might wonder what that means. Well, stick around and you'll find out what it means. I'm Sherry of Aegean Dreams and I welcome you. Okay, I'm going to tell you the story of Patch's Little Eye, but I'm going to talk about her predecessor first. Her predecessor was Matahari, a big, beautiful calico that I found as a kitten on the street. Well, she followed me home, so I told Vasili, and she just was the greatest cat. And I called her Matahari because every time I would bring a bag into the house or something, she was checking, so I always said she was a spy, and she always checked the bags to see if there were any bombs in there. So we began to travel back and forth. Well, Vasilis was still working, so when he would go working, I would go back to Florida, which was usually in the fall I would go. And I would fly with Matahari. She flew in a cage at my seat. And we did this for a long time, back and forth. My parents absolutely adored her, and then after a while I was staying in the house of a friend who I also worked for, and they loved having Matahari too. So she was just a great cat. But all those travelings maybe stressed her or whatever. She lived about 11 years, which actually in Greece that's a long time for a Greek cat. And when we lost her, we both were just devastated. We adored that cat. She brought so much life to the house. I loved Vasilis's expression. Oh, the house, it's full of empty. Which it was. The house was full of empty without a little furry friend. About 2 months after we lost our dear Matahari, I remember it was a warm spring day, and I decided to go down to the beach for a swim. So I walked down, and I passed this house that I just remembered, they always have cats. I think I'm ready to find a new cat, but it has to be a calico. So I passed, and indeed there were lots of cats in the yard, probably about 5 or 6 cats, and I did see some kittens, but there was no people outside to talk to. So I went down, swam, and on the way back up, put on my robe, came back up, and there was a young girl out in the garden. So I stopped and I said to her, Mipos, ehis mia gataiki puni metria hromata, which means maybe you have a little cat that has 3 colors. And the girl, ehome, yes, we have. And off she scurried and hunted down this most darling, adorable little kitten I have ever seen. Just a little fluff ball. Probably too young to have been taken from her mother, but I was going to take her. The parties, she asked me, will you take her? I said, nah, yes, I will take her. And I clasped her to me, and even with my wet robe and bathing suit, she just cuddled in under my chin. And when I'd look down at her, she'd look back up at me with these beautiful eyes. She was marked so beautifully. She had, her orange patches were orange tiger striped, orange and with white stripes. And hardly any black on her, a little bit here and there, except for this big black patch around her eye. So I thought, oh, well, no brainer here. I'm going to call her Patches. So I came back to the house, and Vasili was in the back washing the car, and he said, oh, what do you have? And I showed him. Of course, he's worse than I am about cats. He fell immediately in love with her. Oh, she's so beautiful. We're going to keep her. I said, oh, yeah, we're going to keep her. So next question is, what will you call her? I said, we're going to call her Patches. And I got this blank look from him. What is Patches? Of course, he didn't know that word. So I began to explain. I said, well, like a pirate has a patch over his eye, the street. Maybe it has a hole in the street, and they bring asphalt and they patch the hole. Or you have a tear in your pantalonia, your trousers, and you put a piece of fabric on there and sew it in place, and you patch the fabric. And he listened intently and then looked so pleased and said, oh, that's wonderful, because I love Patsy Cline. Oh my God, this is what happens when you're married to a foreigner, of course. In this case, I'm the foreigner. So from that day forward, she was Patches to me and Patsy to him. And we just adored her. So now fall was approaching, and we were ready to. I was ready to fly. Vasilis was off on a job, so I had everything arranged. She already had her shots, and she got the microchip, and she got the little pet passport, and we headed off to America. And I was staying at my dad's house out in Okeechobee. My mother had passed away, and he sold the house over in Vero Beach and moved to his fishing camp house out in Okeechobee. So we were staying out there. So Vasilis was done working. He met me, and we stayed out at Daddy's. But every day I would drive back and forth. It's about an hour over to the coast to work in my friend's salon. And then it occurred to me, I thought, she really needed to be spayed before we get back. In America, she never went outside. She stayed inside. But here she goes outside. So we could not bring her back. She had now matured. We were going to have a problem. So I called my old vet in Vero Beach and made arrangements for the upcoming Monday to bring the cat, drop her off when I go to work, and then pick her up when I come back. But we also made plans for Vasili to spend the day with our friends Bob and Irene when I went to work. And when I came back, we would have dinner and we would stay the night with them. So that was a great plan, right? One would think. So we get in the car. The cat's in the carrier, sitting on Vasili's lap. I'm driving, and we start out. And the cat, of course, is beginning to fuss, and Vasilis is fussing over the cat, so the cat is fussing more. And whereas I'm a very calm, easygoing person, nothing bothers me, I'm never stressed, Vasili is the personification of stress and anxiousness, which he relayed to the cat. So with every mile passing, the cat is more agitated, which makes Vasili more stressed, which makes the cat more agitated, and round we go. I tried to tell him, if you just try breathing, and I had taught him how to do box breathing, and you can be calm, and the cat will then be calm. Well, that didn't work. A little further on, and he, stop. I said, what do you mean stop? I'm in the middle of the road. Stop. What's the matter? Her eye is closed. I said, well, okay, her eye is closed. That's not a sign of anything. Yes, but it's her little eye. Remember I told you that there was a black patch over the one eye? And indeed, as she grew a little older, it did make an optical illusion that the eye set in the black field was smaller. But of course it wasn't, which I've explained again and again to Vasili. But besides being anxious and fretful, he's also hard-headed. So he just wasn't hearing me. So now we had the issue that Patch's little eye was closed. And I said, Vasili, there's nothing wrong with it. She's going to be fine. The cat is just now totally bonkers, bouncing off the walls of the cage, scratching her arm out from the door, and I pulled over, stopped the car, got out, came around to the passenger side, take the cage and the cat out, put them in the back seat where I could see her, the cat could see me, and proceeded on. Now we've lost time, and I'm just going to make it when I get to Bob and Irene's to drop him off, and with barely a word of anything to Bob and Irene. Of course, the cat is still stressed because Vasilis totally ratcheted the whole thing up. So I left him, I get to the vet's, leave the cat, I go to work, and I'm thinking, okay, the drama is over. I can just work, which I loved my work, so that was great. No, within 2 hours, the receptionist comes with the telephone. Sherry, you have a phone call. I said, honey, I'm with a customer. Well, it's Vasili, and he's very anxious. So I said, what do you need? What's the matter? Well, how is Patches? I don't know. I guess she's fine. You didn't call the doctor to see how she is? I said, Vasili, I'm working. I'm with a customer, and I'm sure the doctor is working. If there was anything wrong, we would hear. You need to call. You need to call. I was like, oh, my God. I said, Vasili, I'm going to hang up now. And I closed the phone, and I went back to work. Well, that happened 2, probably 3 more times throughout the day. And I was so annoyed. And I finally told the girl at the desk, I said, listen, if he calls again, tell him you cannot bring me to the phone. That's it. I'm done. So I go on with my day. It's lovely. I have a great time with the girls, with the customers. I leave. I pick up the cat. The cat is now doing fine. She's had time to recoup from the anesthesia. Practically looks like nothing happened to her. But as I'm driving to Bob and Irene's, the stress from the morning and him calling was building up a bit. And I was annoyed by the time I got to the house. I thought, this is ridiculous. Over nothing. He brings and builds up this stress. All I can think of is, it must be hard being Vasili to stress over everything. So I get to the house, and before I can get out of the car with the cat, Vasilis is out on the sidewalk. How is she? How is she? I was like, Jesus Christ, Vasilis. She didn't have brain surgery. She just had a minor operation. So we come in the house. Now Bob and Irene are in the kitchen fixing dinner, getting dinner ready. And when I come in, they kind of pop their heads out. Hi, how's Patches? Patches is fine. And Vasilis is just fussing and over the cat, and suddenly the devil entered my body. Without even thinking, I said, she's fine, but you know, I do need to tell you I'm sorry. I didn't say apologize because he doesn't know that word. I need to tell you I'm sorry because you were right. What do you mean? What do you mean I was right? About her little eye. Now Bob and Irene pop back out with perplexed looks on their faces. And Vasilis is like, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. So what can we do about it? What can we do about it? Bob and Irene are at attention now. Their ears just tuning in. I said, well, we have a big decision to make. What? Whatever she needs, we'll do it. I said, well, we have to decide if the eye transplant will be put a little one to match the little eye or a big one to match the big eye. Bob and Irene just couldn't hold it in any longer. They were just dying laughing. Vasilis looked at them, looked at me, takes the cat and leaves with a parting blast of agamisu, which is Greek for, oh, F you. But it was hilarious. Better to handle my frustration with a joke on him. And Patches was fine, and her little eye was fine, and we enjoyed her for a very long time until she also passed away of old cat age. So that's my story, my funny story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved sharing it with you. And Gee, it's a gorgeous Saturday. I hope you have a gorgeous Saturday where you are, or whatever day you happen to be watching this. And if you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. I'd love for you to subscribe and be part of my group, and comment. Tell me about what you thought about the story about Patches. She was a gorgeous girl. I'm going to see if I can find a photo of her in my files. I think I probably have one. And actually, Sarah, who is my partner in this channel and is editing this, she took some fabulous photos of Patches when she was a little kitten. Sarah often would come and stay with us. So that's it for today. Cheers. Have a great one. Ciao.